Welcome back to the second hour of Citizen Extra live on Citizen TV. My name is Wahiga Mwaura, and in this hour we talk about the presidential debate that is happening tonight. We have stakeholders from different sectors in studio, and they'll be talking about their wish list for the presidential debate. What sort of questions would they like to be asked? What sort of issues would they like to be discussed? That's what we'll be talking about shortly, and I will be introducing them in just a bit. But before that, let's cross over to Kisumu County, where Laura Cheng is on standby to talk about a case that will have implications for the upcoming elections. 3 voters have taken the IEBC to court, stating that they would like the High Court to mandate the IEBC to release presidential results 7 hours after polling stations are closed. Of course, the IEBC is not happy with that. They would like to protest that, and that ruling is expected today. To give us more details, we now join Laura Cheng. Laura, good morning. What is the latest in regards to that High Court ruling?
A very good morning to you, Wahiga, at the Communications Center. And actually, the ruling has already been delivered by Justice David Majanja, and he has dismissed the case on grounds that the 3 voters failed to show how the entire thing is an infringement to their rights. Now, we know that IEBC had put forth a very strong case, saying, first of all, that it is not within the High Court's jurisdiction to handle matters presidential elections and presidential petitions, and also they were saying that it was the petition was not meeting the constitutional threshold of filing petitions. So Justice David Majanja has actually dismissed that petition, and now we were expecting the lawyer who was representing the 3 voters to be talking to us shortly, but he's not here yet. But of course, we will be staying here to be bringing you the latest. Maybe the lawyer can tell us the way forward, what they're now going to do, as the petition has been dismissed. And now I'm being informed that the lawyer is on his way here, Wahiga. Now, of course, what we know is that the 3 filed the petition on the 12th of this month, and today the judge has actually dismissed it. And now the lawyer, Kenneth Amondi, is here, of course, to be telling us the way forward. So could you tell us the way forward now that the case has been dismissed?
Of course, I'm awaiting instructions from the clans after having gone through the judgment. But that notwithstanding, our position, as it were, is that this was basically a public interest litigation. The issues raised touched on a subject that is of concern to all the people of Kenya. Nothing stops the IEBC, which is a constitutional body, from addressing these legitimate issues. Nothing stops the Commission from ensuring that all its returning officers in the 290 constituency tallying centers release, or rather announce, the presidential election results within a reasonable time frame, which we're saying is 7 hours after the closure of polling stations. As you realize, what the judge said was that he does not have the power to compel the IEBC to do its job in a particular fashion. He didn't say that our claim is unreasonable. Yeah? So that the thing is, the IEBC is a constitutional body. The fate of Kenyans now rests in their hands. The issues have been raised. It is within the public domain, and we are saying they have got the power to do that which they ought to do as is constitutionally provided for. Yes.
Wahiga, that is the way forward now, as the lawyer Henry Amondi has now revealed. Now the baton is now back to the IEBC. Of course, it's a victory for them, and of course we will be keeping an eye on the same to be bringing you the latest from this front. Back to you, Wahiga.
Well, thank you, Laura Cheng. And news just in, of course, from Kisumu County. The High Court has dismissed a case which would have sought or mandated the IEBC to release the presidential results 7 hours after polling stations closed. IEBC will not have to do that now. The case was dismissed because those who brought the case, the 3 voters, were asked, how is that an infringement on their rights? And in addition, the IEBC, which is a constitutional body, had stated that the High Court did not have jurisdiction on this matter. The High Court agreed that they cannot mandate the IEBC in how they'll operate, you know, and that is what we have in terms of details for now. We'll give you more details in regards to this when that happens, but the latest news from the High Court in Kisumu is that the IEBC will not be compelled to release presidential results 7 hours after polling stations close. Well, let's move on to other matters now, talking about the presidential debate, and we have stakeholders from different sectors in industry, you know, in studio today, and they'll be helping us to discuss what are some of the potential talking points they'd like to be discussed tonight when the presidential debate kicks off. Before that, if we have those now, I'd like to refresh your minds with presidential results from 2013. Let's take a look at how it played out in 2013, and of course who will be on the ballot papers come the 8th of August. So let's take a look at this. In 2013, these are some of the presidential results. Abdul Badida there, Alliance for Real Change, he had 52,000 votes, 0.43%. Martha Karua, NAC Kenya, 43,881 votes, 0.36%. Let's take a look at... Good, we'll be taking a look at the others. We had 8 candidates on that in contention in 2013. President Uhuru Kenyatta, then with the TNA party. But before we get to that, let's take a look. Musalia Mudavadi then was vying under UDF in total votes 483,981. 3.93% is what he got. Peter Kenneth, Kenya National Congress, 72,786 votes. 0.59% is what he got in terms of overall votes. That's right. We have 2 other slides that we'll be showing you shortly. James Ole Kiapi, Legilisho Kiapi, Restore and Build Kenya, together with Paul Moite Safina, will be showing you those as well. In addition, President Uhuru Kenyatta, then the candidate, there we go. So let's start with that. Uhuru Kenyatta, then the candidate for TNA, 6,173,433, 50.07% of the total votes. That's 50 plus 1, and that is why he was declared president. Raila Odinga, then under the ODM party, which is still running under now as well, although then he was also part of the Chord coalition. He led the Chord coalition, now the NASA coalition of parties. Votes 5,340,546, 43.41%. And the final slide, which we'll also have, James Ole Kiapi, Restore and Build Kenya, and Paul Moite Safina, I'm told we'll have that in just a bit. I don't know if we're able to take a look at presidential candidates this time round, if we're able to pull that up on your screen. And this time round we have 8 candidates, just like in 2013. President Uhuru Kenyatta, Jubilee Party; Raila Odinga, ODM, NASA; Cyrus Jirongo, United Democratic Party; Ekuru Aukot, Fairway Alliance; Abdul Badida, Alliance for Real Change; Joseph Nyaga, an independent candidate; Professor Michael Wainaina, independent candidate; Dr. Japheth Kabinga, independent candidate as well. That's just to refresh your memories with what happened in 2013, and of course the names that you expect to see on the ballot paper on the 8th of August. Let me introduce my panel in studio. I am glad to have Henry Ohanga, better known as Octopizo. He's a musician and UN Youth Ambassador. He'll be talking about youth, arts and culture and the expectations even as the presidential debate takes place tonight. I'm also glad to have Patrick Obath, Vice Chairman, KEPSA Foundation. He'll be talking about private business and their expectations, and KEPSA as well and their role even as we count down to the August 8th polls. Harun Washira, social entrepreneur with a bias towards agriculture and value addition, and he'll be talking about how Kenya can do smarter business and what he expects in terms of a conducive business environment with whoever will take up the government come the 8th of August and thereafter. And of course, Nick Mwendwa, Football Kenya Federation President. Today he'll also have another hat. He'll be talking about sports in general and what sportsmen and sportswomen expect tonight in terms of the presidential debate and after the 8th of August. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the program. Let me start with you, Octopizo. What are 1 or 2 challenges that your industry is experiencing right now?
Thanks a lot again, and personally representing the art community, one is that we don't feel there's any or there's ever been like a visible support from any of the candidates, not now, not before. Artists have become, we are just seen as entertainment things, you know. It's like you playing a PlayStation at home. So whenever they need us during campaigns, they will call us and offer us a big bunch of money, and because people are desperate, some artists will take that money and represent what they really don't represent, but they're just going there because they're getting paid. So, and I don't think like our country or these politicians understand something called art economics. Like the kind of gross profit like the art sector or the creative sector bring in this country is probably very much if you compare to what the government itself do to this country as for young people, especially who are into creatives and entrepreneurship and music. But the support has never been there. We are called when they have events, but they never have like a sit-down table and say like, oh, you guys, you know, maybe you have some brains. They think we don't have brains. They think artists are those guys who like after school they dropped out and felt like, oh, let's go and start singing. So this is business.
So you feel for the art community that there's a lot more in which they could be engaged?
There's a whole economic side that has never been addressed in regards to arts and culture. Good.
I'll come back to you so that you can give us an idea of how that can be addressed because we believe some, if not all, the presidential candidates are watching. Let me come to you, Patrick Obat. Same question to you. What are the challenges affecting the private sector as we speak?
The key things that the private sector is being affected with at the moment, one of them I think is clear policy direction. There's a lot of policies that the government should put into place to ensure that when an investor invests, they are sure that over the period of time that the investment takes to mature, they are going to have the same conditions sitting with them. And if the conditions are going to change, then there is a clear mechanism that allows the business to reassess where they're going to go and then remodel their business so as to be able to meet their obligations both as a business and a business and to the shareholder. The second thing I think that as a business community we would like to see is that the whole area of accountability and corruption. The country has got a lot of institutions that are supposed to take care of those issues, but over the last 5 years and even before that, the speed at which they operate, the level of litigation and the fear that the individuals in those organizations have is such that really we have not made as big a dent in terms of corruption as they should be. We have seen a lot of promises that have been made, but no heads have really rolled, and they have not rolled quickly when they have rolled as well. So really those are the two key areas. Policy stability and the areas of corruption. We're really keen to hear what they have to say about that.
Okay, I'll engage you further on this. Let me bring in Harun Wachira, a social entrepreneur with a bias towards agriculture. Harun, it's been the last 2 years very tough for Kenya in terms of where we're in terms of agriculture. We know the maize shortage still a challenge in the country. Where do you feel we've gone wrong as a nation in regards to this? What is lacking in that particular sector?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think you've just touched on the first major one. 50 years into independence and we are still depending on rain as our main source for production in agriculture. I think that's a big problem. We would like to be seeing how to utilize 21st century technologies like vertical farming and hydroponics and sand dams to open up much more areas in Kenya for agriculture. I think the other thing I would like to mention is that if you actually just drive along our roads, you will notice that the only people that get stopped by policemen typically are the people who are trying to do something, like somebody carrying a load of potatoes to market. That guy is harassed and treated in a very hostile way because he's doing something and is expected to pay bribes as a result of that, which effectively discourages people who want to be doing serious agricultural activities in an honest way. So the process of making it a making fair play available for small-scale farmers as they go to market is a very important thing. And then productivity. I think there are very many Kenyans who don't know this, but just picking up some areas, a cow needs a farmer needs to produce 16 liters of milk from a cow in order to make a profit. Today, the average for Kenya is about 2.8. So just increasing productivity, whether it's in maize farming or is in milk dairy farming, is another big area. And lastly, automation. In agriculture, we need to mechanize even in small scale operations in order for us to attract even young people into that sector. So those are the kind of issues that I think we need to be talking about in agriculture and how to do it.
Okay, Mick Mwendwa, same question to you. Key challenges affecting football and sports in this country. We know sports has the potential to hire, hundreds of thousands of youth. Some, positives, but some negatives as well. Maybe you can walk us through the state of the sector.
So let me state the biggest problem we have is that our nation, we have not put in place a proper sports policy. Sports policy in terms of saying, how do we develop our talent? How do our people, then when they develop and they're good enough and they have the talent, how do they grow from there? So let me take an example. In football, in Kenya we have 6,000 clubs at an average of 30 players per club. So just about 20,000 players then should be in that industry. The 20,000 players each have about 12,000 coaches that are coaching these teams, and they do this every day. Now, to make it an industry, you need to have the policy. The problem we've had is that the Ministry of Sports does not have budgets allocated to it. And therefore, then, they cannot develop the game, not just football, but any other game. So every time we have a national team game, Harambee Stars is playing against Ghana or playing anywhere, we have to go to the ministry, we have to put in budgets, and we have to compete for resources at that level because the planning has not been there. And this applies to swimming, this applies to karate, this applies to all sport. So first of all, as a nation, we need to decide that sport is very serious for us. I'm just from Morocco this weekend, and they decided, they combined 3 ministries, three ministries invested in developing the infrastructure for sport in that country.
Meaning budgets from
they have invested 150 billion shillings. The Ministry of Interior, instead of investing in building more prisons, they have invested in putting money in sport, so that these kids, instead of them going to run around town carrying guns or doing funny things, they are put in sport. And that way then they reduce the investment they are doing in crime. Just to show how serious these people are in the things they are doing. Sport is very big. And we would like to see in the government, we good support ourselves as football. I was elected last year, as you remember. Very peaceful, good elections. I hope we set examples for what is going to happen. But for me, is the support we need from the ministry, because every federation has something in place. We have under 13, we have the youth, we are developing everywhere. We have the structures now in place, but we need government support. Government must come in and say, what is your strategy? If this is your strategy, then this is how much we can invest. If we invest this much, then we can grow this sector this much. Whether it's in swimming, whether it's in football, whatever it is, I think this is what we need in clarity. And it must be that this member doesn't need to be rare to correct football. It must be a policy by government, so anyone who comes must follow that policy. I
will come back to allow you to engage deeper in that. Let me go back to Dr. Pizzo, and this is to all of you, but we can start with Dr. Pizzo. 2 questions. If you had the opportunity to ask the presidential candidates tonight, what would they be? I'll only allow you 2 questions. I know some of you would have 7. 2 key questions that you would ask. We can start with you, Dr. Pizzo.
One of my first questions would be like...
do you mind facing there you go.
One of my first questions would be, as young people in this country, and especially young people from informal settlements, which there's always a 99% chance that we don't make it to university. So we branch into arts, sports, and other entrepreneurship businesses. The government, or even the opposition, because these things, sometimes you don't need to be in the government to make these things happen. So opposition should not be sitting relaxing saying that the government should do this.
Is that your question?
Yeah, like what have they done? How have they utilized this 99%, which is a big crowd? People make it to universities to even get jobs, can't even get 5%. And even those who pass don't get jobs still.
Okay, and what's your second, I'm sure they're listening, what's your second question?
My second question is like, where are the spaces for creatives? You know, like for artists like us, somewhere like Kibera constituency, there's no social hall for young people. So young people end up hanging in barbershops and drug areas. So where are the spaces for young people where they can go and just like mobilize themselves? There's nowhere for young people to gather. The fields, like Kibera, they've grabbed almost every field. We have only 2 fields remaining. Where these kids who always play football, where are they going to go in the next 2 years, if the fields are being taken every day and they're building some random stuff that is not even helping not the community or the young people themselves.
Okay. Thank you for those two questions. What you would ask the presidential candidates, what have you done for youth to get jobs and also access to university? You'd also ask them where are the spaces for creatives, social halls for young people as well.
Yeah.
Patrick, over to you as well. Two questions that you'd ask the presidential candidates if you had a chance to address them face to face.
The first one is on the role of government in business. We had a committee that actually went ahead to analyze and try and optimize all the parastatals that we had. So the first question to the presidential candidates would be, what will you do to ensure that government stays as a policy-making body and business stays in the business community? So basically, rationalize your parastatals, minimize them, keep only the necessary ones, and let business continue doing business. That's the first one. The second one is, what would they do to increase internal trade, not only within Kenya, but within the East African community? A lot of the infrastructure that we're building is being built for export. The SGR basically goes from the port inlands and outwards. The new roads that are going to be built are basically following the same route. What are we doing in terms of, what are they going to do in terms of creating infrastructure and facilities to encourage internal trade within Kenya, to also encourage value addition within Kenya, and in the same breath to do it within the East African community?
Okay, so those are your two questions. What are you going to do to increase internal trade and the East African community as well? And earlier on you asked the role of government in business. What do we do, or what will you do to ensure that government does policy and businesses can then be left to do what they do best, which is business? Okay, I think I've gotten a summary of that. Harun Washira, let's also get a word from you. Two questions, two crucial questions that you'd ask the presidential candidates. I know you have a blog where you posted some, but for now I'll ask you to limit them to only two.
Yeah, I actually prepared a blog, and you can search for my name on the internet and find those questions.
Harun Washira.
Yeah, Harun, H-A-R-O-N, Washira. If you became president, I would like to see what you are thinking about the 80% young people and rural people who are literally unable to find meaningful employment, utilizing modern technologies to create such things like call centers and the BOPs in the rural areas, and utilizing technologies that make it possible for people to work productively. I am asking the question, what will you do to bring together the resources and the innovative people around you to guide you in creating massive employment, but in a meaningful way? Question number one. The second question revolves around what is happening in the 21st century. We are seeing the whole world moving into artificial intelligence, into 3D printing, into use of drones and things like that. And these are areas that our universities should be actively getting involved in, the sciences that revolve around transformation of society. And the question is, where is Kenya in that game? Are we just waiting for other people to develop those technologies, whether it is in agriculture or whether in mapping or whether in employment? Are we just waiting to copy many years later after others have gone ahead of us, or are we engaging our universities and our researchers to play an active role in the participation of utilization of the current technologies?
Okay, thank you, Harun Washira. Nick Mwendwa, over to you. Same question, two crucial questions that you would like to ask the 8 presidential candidates if you are sitting or standing face to them in tonight's debate.
So first is on sport generally. What will be your long-term thinking around sport if you become president? Very straightforward question. What will be your long-term thinking? Sport cannot be planned in a short-term manner. So we want to hear from the candidates, what is their long-term thinking around sport generally, whatever sport it is. Because there's a lot of sport that's not developed in this country. There is sport that is developed and whose potential almost in all sport has not been exploited. So we want to hear from them 10 years, 15 years, what is your sport plan? What policies will you put in place so that when you are gone, we shall continue as a country to develop the sport for the young people? And that's the first question, General. The second question will be around football. Now we are targeting 2022-2026 World Cup. We have not built any infrastructure. You see, we are struggling with Chan. We are fighting to make sure that it's not taken away from us. We want the infrastructure in place. So we want to hear what ideas around sport infrastructure. You know, Octopizzo talks about the social holds. Entertainment and sport go together. The social hold, the places where you bring the kids and so that they can grow and learn. What is your plan in a long-term view so that the investment you put in now will be felt 12 years, 16 years, 20 years down the line? We'd like to hear this from the country. This is very big for us as FKF because we have long-term plans. And if they're not aligned with government, it's a waste of time.
Okay, thank you, Nick Mendros, for that. And for those of you watching at home, do you have questions for the presidential candidates? Talk to us, 22422. I'll read them as soon as I get them, and you can also talk to us on social media at Citizen TV Kenya. What I can tell in this debate, or with my panel in studio, is that some of the best brains in the country are here with me. And what happens sometimes with candidates is that they might not have access to some of this information. So what I'd like to ask each of my panelists is if they had a chance to advise presidential candidates on the best strategies in the first 100 days in office in their respective sectors, what would they tell them? Let me start with you, Octopizzo. If you had a chance to advise whoever will take the polls on 8th of August on what they should do in the first 100 days in your sector, because I can tell from all of you that a lot needs to be done, but it has to start somewhere. What would you advise whoever will take the day come 8th of August in the presidential election? Octopizzo?
I think personally I would like to tell them, because I know they have a database of like what amount of taxes the Kenyan people pay. Yet we've never ever seen a gazetted like expenditure diagram of where this money really goes.
Okay.
So first 100 days, first they should reevaluate what did they pick from taxes last year or the last 5 years, and what are they looking for to pick this year, and how is that reflecting to the common man who pays taxes but can't afford health, can't afford like real housing, can't afford education to like a professional level. So how are they helping this guy? And don't tell me like there's all this like bursary and stuff which really has been here since the Moi days, and we can say that it's not working that much. Maybe it's happening to like 0.1%, but we are in 2017. We should not be at 0.1%. We should be at least at 80% right now.
So for you, like clear knowledge on where tax
money goes, the expenditure, and this should be gazetted to the public, because the government represents the public. So they say this percentage of money will go to health, and when we say health, we're not just saying only for the guys who, like, if you have like a brain damage or something. We're saying even that little kid that just broke his leg in primary school, but they don't know what to do. His mom can't afford to buy Panadol. What is the government doing about people like this? When I say people who don't have insurance, people like a broken wind in school can happen, like accidents happen, and they don't know where to go to. They don't know where to start.
Okay, that's
we need that expenditure diagram and to be followed, not just some policy written stuff. Yeah, we need like actual, like something that makes sense. And
thank you for that, Dr. Pizzo. Patrick Obath, same question to you. If you could advise whoever will take the polls come the 8th of August, what crucial things would you like to see them implement in the first 100 days?
The first 100 days, two things. One is they will have to form a cabinet and set up their infrastructure, the executive. That executive has to have a proper code of conduct and accountability, and they should have very clear contracts that in the event that they have any iota of doubt on their integrity, they should leave immediately without going through court and talking about human rights and all the rest of it. They have a contract with the chief executive, and that chief executive should be able to discipline them as the way they wish. That way we will have some confidence in the fact that the man in charge is the man in charge. Secondly, we would like to see the president in the first 100 days set up a very, very clear strategy on how business is going to be enabled right from the grassroots to the multinationals that are coming into the country, so that we are able to start investments within a very short time. Currently, although we are very good, we are not yet good enough as a country, and we need that to improve such that we can able to start an investment within a week in this country.
Okay, thank you for those 2 points. Harun Washida, same question to you. First 100 days, if you could advise the winner of the presidential election, what would you tell them that they should first implement in terms of your sector?
I would like to see a presidential initiative, that is a program that is driven directly from the president's office, but touching on the various ministries that are implementing the 4 specific revolutions I would like to see happen in the country. The first revolution is in employment creation. Instead of creating jobs that are unsustainable or that pay very low wages, I would like to see a mechanism through which we can create hundreds of thousands of jobs, but utilizing technologies that are known to create that revolution. For example, if you have a call center established in a rural setting connected to fiber and targeting to do business with the world, you can create thousands of jobs for programmers and for people like those who are educated and who would otherwise never get jobs in Kenya. But that initiative would need to be driven. Business models, Kenyans know how to copy, but many of them may not exactly know how to initiate things. There are thousands of models of little things that can be implemented at the local level to enable people copy. So one question is around employment creation in large scale. The second one is an agricultural transformation. At the moment we are still doing subsistence farming, many years into independence, and yet it's tying up the resources of more than 80% of all our people in activities that are not profitable. That's why M-Pesa transactions reflect payments drawing up from the cities but taking money to the rural areas, because the people in the rural areas can't support themselves. We need to turn that around, and there are ways of doing it. We can open up marginalized areas with things like sand dams.
Okay, thank you so much. Nick Mwandwa, same question to you. First 100 days, what would you like to see from whoever will take over after the elections?
For me, I like to see in the 100 days is the thinking behind how to drive the sectors. If you listen to entertainment, business, agriculture, sport, the role of government, I think the president should make up his mind what he wants his government to be. Do you want your government to be an enabler? Or do you want your government to go and try execute for people? I think government should create the environment for agriculture, for entertainment, for sport, for business to thrive. How to do that is to empower those sectors. How to empower them is to provide that component which the sectors themselves cannot do. And that's what Harun is talking about. If you want to bring up the level of production for farmers, then you need to advise them. You need to train them. You need to allow them and let them know that subsistence farming will not take them to where they want to be. And that way then you need to do things in the communities that will grow that farmer. Something in sport. As a federation, we have a policy in place now. We have a blueprint, we have a strategy in place. We want to be in the 2022-2026 World Cup. The way to do that is to work on 10-year-olds, on 13-year-olds, and we're training them today. Now, having centers across the country is one thing we are doing, but making them cheap by working with the Ministry of Education, so that then we can grow those kids as they learn in schools, so we can pick them from there. The recent under-20 team that has gone to beat Botswana 7-1 was picked from the school system and was brought to camp, and we enable them to go and perform, because that's how we work with government. And so for me, what I like to advise is to say that they need to empower us, not just as football, but in all sectors, whether it's in swimming, whether it's in bowling, whether it's in athletics, in whatever sport you are in, and not just sport. If it's in agriculture, if it's in entertainment, you will not make Octopizzo. He will make himself Octopizzo. But can you provide him with the infrastructure required so that if he fails, it's upon him? And that's what we're talking about. If your government is about that, then we put policies in place that allow us to thrive. And I think as football we have that in place. I would like to advise the thinking to be around how do we enable, how do we put the infrastructure in place to say Kasarani is ready, go and do athletics, to say Kimeri is ready, to to say the training pitches have good grass. Rather than let's have a program to bring the coaches of FKF to train these kids. So then in 2026, they will be 24 years old and they can perform for us. I think that's the thinking behind the whole thing.
Your dream would be to have a government that is an enabler, that policies that different sectors have and helps them to achieve.
Correct, and that does not interfere in the growth. Once it enables you, lets you thrive. It doesn't come in between you and business. I think Patrick is talking about a government that enables you to set up a business quickly and that gives you all that you need. So if you want to set up a company, you do it fast. And we are talking about in football being enabled. We have a National Talent Academy, for example. Can we have 5-7 of this? Can they even be given access to us so that we can bring these kids from the villages, so that we can bring the expertise to train them from Germany there, because we have the cooperation required? I think this is the thinking behind the whole thing we're talking about.
Okay, gentlemen, I can hear the passion with which you are talking about the issues that you hope will be addressed tonight, but there is a chance that those issues might not be discussed. If we can take a look at what happened last week Monday, when the presidential running mate debate was supposed to take place but did not happen because 7 of the 8 candidates did not show up, and there is a possibility again tonight. Of course, we don't know. We're leaving it up. We have to wait and see what will happen. But per chance, should none of the candidates show up tonight, how disappointed will you be? Let me start with you, Dr. Pizzo.
One, we probably won't be disappointed, because this is how it has been for a long time. But
it means you came and wasted an hour on TV.
Yeah, but this is why I hope they can feel guilty, because we've been asking this from like at the lowest level, even meeting a councillor, meeting an MCA, meeting an MP of your area. Okay, and if these are the presidential candidates, and this is what they're showing the little guys, how are we going to be able to reach our MCAs back at home if the presidential candidate can't even show up just for a small 1-hour debate on TV? How will they be accountable for anything in the future if they're scared to face the real people just to ask a few questions? In short, it shows either if they don't come, my disappointment will be like, maybe they're not even the presidents. Maybe these guys, they're just the poster boys, and behind there's somebody who really do the work, and they don't want to mess that, because they still want to be.
So that would be your suspicion if they don't.
For me, that will be like,
if they don't show up.
Yeah, because I can't send this guy who always write my speeches and write this stuff, because then that's my picture.
Of course, we don't have proof of that, Dr. Pizzo, but
well, if they don't come, that's the proof. Not
the views of Citizen X, Dr. Pizzo. That is his opinion. Patrick, let me also get your views. How disappointed will you be if, after all we are discussing in studio, after the discussions Kenyans have had over the last few weeks about the debate, if it doesn't actually happen because they don't show up?
I think let's start from a premise that whoever is in government is employed by the people of Kenya. That's the first thing. And being employed by the people of Kenya, they have to actually respond to the people of Kenya and tell the people of Kenya what they're doing, where they're going, through whatever medium is offered for them to do so. And this is one medium that reaches a lot of people, even people who are not on internet and so forth. They will reach, they'll be able to reach them. So I would be extremely disappointed if they snub their employer, which is me and the Kenyan citizen, and not turn up when the employer summons them to turn up. Thank you.
Thank you. Harun Washira, same question to you.
Wahiga, I sure hope they come, because this is a great platform for them to debate with Kenyans on issues that affect them. However, I have a separate message, and I think specifically for the youth personally, that whether or not our politicians respond to the issues that you're concerned about, it is time that you take charge. It is the time when young people need to be, they're the majority. You make up 53% of the voter bloc or something like that. And I think they can create mechanisms through which you can bring those candidates to forums where they have to debate, whether that's in universities, in town halls, if we can create them, in public gatherings. I think we need to begin to see a different level of activism among our young people that will force our politicians to have to respond to the issues that are of concern to young people. Otherwise, the young people will continue to be used, as my colleagues here are saying, by politicians. They're just being used as for entertainment and things like that. Yeah, so I hope that they come to debate, but if they don't, I would like young people to begin forcing those debates in other forums.
Okay, and I'd like to ask Nick Mwendwa the same question. Before I do, we'll also be crossing over to Eldoret once again, where John Wanyama will be telling us what the expectations are of residents of Eldoret. I hope we can also do that for other places, depending on how much time we have, what the expectations are in regards to the presidential debate and what sort of questions they would like to be asked. Also, I'm told Hassan Mugambi is live at the Catholic University of East Africa, where the debate will take place tonight. He'll be letting us know about preparations and the build-up to that debate. Before we talk to those gentlemen, let's hear from Nick Mwendwa, even as he tells us a little bit about how he would feel, how disappointed he would be if the debates don't actually take place after he's taken his time. He could have been having some important meetings, maybe in FIFA or with FIFA on the phone, but he's here with us. Nick Mwendwa, how disappointed will you be if they don't take place?
Yeah, who has had the privilege of being elected on a ballot nationally.
Oh, so you understand the process.
So I think when I look at the panel, I'm the only guy who has put myself out there and being elected. And in fact, the question is twofold for me. Why do our people feel that they don't want to attend the debates? I think as media also you need to ask yourself that question. Is it the politics the way we're playing it out there? Is it something we're doing in those debates that they don't find the value in putting the information out there? If you remember, I came to Citizen a number of times. I attended all debates that were there.
Yes, you did.
There were a few that I didn't like, but I attended all debates that were there. I was attending them because I found them a platform to put my message out there. I believe they helped me get elected and do the stuff we're doing now. And the question for me, Wahiga, then is, why are people shunning away from an opportunity to put their ideas out there when we know very well they need to let us know about the things we have discussed? I think that's the first question I'll say. The second thing is, I think that if you have a platform to nationally sway opinion about what we think about you, I think I would encourage you to come to a debate. There might be, however, a reason why a candidate feels they do not want to come to a debate. And you might find that it's actually strategic for them. You know, politics is very funny. Finding numbers, looking for debate, it's very funny, I'll tell you. So I would not just sit here and vilify somebody, but I'll encourage them and say, you have a platform, come and put your ideas out there about the things we've discussed here today, many more that you have. Give the Kenyan a chance. The Kenyan, at least that, who wants to vote for substance. Because again, voting, as you know, on some occasions is not behind substance. So for me is to encourage them to come and put their debate out there, put their ideas out there. For me is also to ask the media, what is it we are doing, or what are we doing that is making some of them to think strategically it doesn't help them to come to a debate?
Okay. So questions for both sides, the media and the candidates as well, but for you would like the candidates to be there, or late of them tonight at Catholic University. All right, well, we'll take a short commercial break. When we return, depending on time, I'll give each of my panelists a chance for parting thoughts or a parting shot. In addition, we'll be talking to John Wanyama in Eldoret, Hassan Mugambi at the Catholic University, and I'll be reading your SMS feedback. Talk to us, 22422, and on social media at Citizen TV Kenya. You're watching Citizen Extra live on Citizen TV.